morning. Welcome to Fun Fold Friday. My name is Erica. I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator living in Canada, and I am happy to see you if you happen to pop by, and if not, I welcome you to watch my replay. Today I have a really fun fold card for you today. I already made one just to test out the fun fold. I think I made this years and years ago. This is the card. And I'm using the Bees stamp sets. We've got 2 stamp sets on the go right now in our online store. So you basically pull this out and you pop it open. So there's this cute little corner little pocket that you can close the card with. Isn't it cute? I think it's really, really cute. Now, I did get this inspiration from another Stampin' Up demonstrator named Patty Dolan. She did this card. Quite a few demonstrators have made this tuck fold. Who knows who the originator is? We never really know because so many people make the cards. Anyway, let me turn my camera down to my desk so that you can see what is happening here. I've got lots of little bees running around here. Here we go. Oh, now I've got this new view, and this is not going to work for my desktop. So let me see if I can change that. Yes, here we go. Okay, we're back. We're good. Okay, and I can see any comments that happen to come through. Here we go. Okay, I'm happy now. All right, so this is a cute little bee card. I'll show it to you one more time. So you've got your card base, and it's cut down to 8 inches. So you can start with a 4 1/4 by 11, which is half a sheet of our regular cardstock. So 4 1/4 by 11. Then you're going to cut it down to 8 inches. And then you're going to do a little score on here. So I'm going to do that from scratch for you. And then the front of the card, you've got this really nice rectangle piece with cardstock and then DSP and then your focal point. You can do whatever you want on here. And then we go on the inside, rather than a typical, white inside, I've got a piece of DSP in here and then a smaller piece here so that you can put a greeting on it or write your own sentiment. A little strip more of DSP that comes through from the front of the card, and then the corner tuck fold. I just love it. And I love the colors here. Now, when the bees first appeared, I mean, we've had lots of bee stamp sets over the years, but in the occasions catalog, which is our spring mini, we had this Be My Valentine stamp set come along with its own set of paper, and it also came with a punch. So this was the first stamp set that was introduced to us with the designer series paper, and also some little embellishments. Now, this stamp set is still available. It's online, and it's no longer a bundle. So if you want this, you have to purchase the stamp set and you have to purchase the punch separately. But it's really still an adorable stamp set, and it coordinates with the latest stamp set, which is this one. So this one is now called Meant to Be, and it comes with a new designer series paper where they're bringing in the pinks. The designer series paper for the first stamp set had reds in it to represent Valentine's Day. This one is definitely more geared to Valentine's because you've got Valentine greetings and you've got hearts in there. But this second set is more neutral. There still is a little heart in here. And but they decided to bring in some pinks now, some of our new in colors. So we've got magenta, petunia pop, and we've got pretty in pink as 2 of the pinks in this set. And then it came with also a set of dies. So you get the punch with the first bundle, and then you get dies with the second one. And look at these. You get these gorgeous, these are not octagons. These are hexagons, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-sided. And then you get some scripts words with a background. And then rather than the punch, you've got the bee. And what's really cool about this stamp set is you get a large bee and a small bee, and you get the large wings and the small wings. Then you get lots of these cute little flowers. And you also get to cut out the antenna. So it makes it a little bit easier because in the first set, you actually stamped, I'll show you, because in here there is the antenna here, and you stamped that, and then you actually punched it using this little heart on here. I don't know if the camera can pick that up because of the shine. There's a little heart here. So you actually cut out the bee. I've got an example here to show you. So you see this is the antenna that I've stamped, and then you punch it out with the heart, and you punch out the whole thing. You punch the wings and you punch the bee as well. So that's how you work the punch. But the newer stamp set, they made it a little bit easier by bringing in, you can still stamp the, sorry, wrong stamp set. You can still stamp the antenna, okay? And you can cut it out, but the die allows you to cut out the antenna just with black cardstock. And when you have these bee dies, rather than stamp the bee in Daffodil Delight, I love that color for the bee, you can actually just cut the bee out with Daffodil Delight cardstock and then stamp on the stripes. So it makes it a little bit easier, and the wings just is a die as well. I sometimes think dies are a little bit easier, but that's totally up to you how you want to do it. Okay, so those are your options for that. And then when I remembered I had another bee stamp set that I still have in my stash. It is retired. It was called Honeybee Home. So if you have this in your stash, it's worth digging out because you've got some extra floral images here. You've got some extra greetings here as well. And you've got some other cute little bees to play with. But the thing that I'm most excited about is there's an embossing folder so that you can do the hive design, which is what I did on, where's my little sample? See my little sample here? There's a hive embossing folder. So if you still have the stamp set, that you can combine them all. Okay, I often think, oh, why are they coming out with another similar set? But then when you combine them all, you have so many more options to play with, which is what I absolutely love. Okay, and then in the past, they came out with these honeycomb foil. I can't remember if this was from a paper pumpkin set or whatever, but you know, I love anything to do with bees, and so anytime I get something, I keep them still, and then I can use them again and again and again. Okay, so that's that stamp set you can think about using. All right, so let's get started. I've got everything cut out, and I've got measurements here so that you can follow along. Okay. All right, so this is all of our card stuff. All right, so here is our card base. And our card base, again, this is 4 1/4 by 11, and I'm going to cut that down to 8 inches. So I'm going to bring out my trimmer here, and I'm going to open up my arm. And let me just move some stuff out of the way here. All right, so there's my arm. And I'm going to cut this down to 8 inches. Okay, so you've got this leftover piece. And then I'm going to score this at 5 1/2, which is the size of our card. 5 1/2 inches. I'm going to score this time. Okay, so then when I fold that, this is our card base here. Okay. So I'm just going to grab my bone folder. Give this a nice burnish. All right. Now, these are all the pieces that you need. I'm going to show them to you as we work on them. Okay, so we're going to work on the front of the card first. All right. So you're going to pick your designer series papers and decide on the patterns that you want to use. So for this example, you see I used the hearts here, and then I matched the hearts up with this corner piece. And then I used two other patterns. I decided this pattern with the honey pots to go on the front, and I used the plaid on the background. Okay, so you have to kind of decide. You need 3 patterns, and you just have to decide what patterns you want to go where. Okay, so that's the first thing you need to think about. So I chose to use this beautiful pink paper with these cute little flowers on here. So this piece for this left panel, this is 2 1/4 by 4. Okay, 2 1/4 by 4. And I am going to then glue this on. So that's the first step. I went over my, so if you roll your tape runner over the side, you just have to fold that tape to the back. Okay, so let's get this on here positioned nicely. Okay, so that's the front of our card done. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we are going to create our focal point. So this is the focal point. So again, this is my second pattern paper with these cute little flowers on here. Okay, and the DSP is 4 by 3. Good morning, Christine. Nice of you to join me. How have you been? All right, so your DSP is 4 by 3, and then you need a layer just to give it a nice little layer behind it. And I've chosen to use the old olive, and this is 4 1/4 by 3 1/4. So 4 by 3 and 4 1/4 by 3 1/4. All right, so I'm going to glue these 2 pieces together. And look at this beautiful pink stripe. So the reverse of this paper, this stripes, is what I decided to use for the inside of the card. Okay, so let's put this on. Look how pretty those flowers are. And I love the color combination. Pool Party, Petunia Pop, and Pretty in Pink. So this pattern is what I've decided to use for the inside of the card as well. So I'll show you. Okay, so there's our focal point, which we're going to build on. Okay. Now, what I decided to do to build on here, I thought I would bring in a tag topper. This is the Elegant Edge Tag Topper Punch. This is how it punches out. Okay, look at that. Isn't that pretty? Now, the width is just shy. Cut your paper just shy of 2 inches. This is your opening here, and it has to be just shy of 2 inches. You can make your tag as long as you want. So I just made this short little tag here, and I thought I would build my bee on top of this tag. Okay, so we won't do that right now. Now, when you're gluing this on, you're only going to glue this portion here. Okay, so you're going to go in. I usually if you measure it, then you'll know. So if I measure this, I'm going to only put 1 1/4 inches, or 1 1 1/4. Yeah, a little bit more than 1 1/4 inches. So if I turn it over and I put this here, just underneath it so I can see the ruler. So 1 1/4 inches. And I'm going to use my Tombow glue for this. Here's my 1 1/4. So I'm just going to put glue just on this piece here. And then you're going to put this on. And you are more or less centering this on your card. So watch your top and bottom, and then watch your sides. It's not quite centered. It's a little bit more over to the right. But that's kind of the idea, like that, okay? It doesn't come to the edge. Now, there's a card called a Joy Fold card, where you're actually using the piece that you've cut from the front, this piece here that's missing, and you rotate it and you put it edge to edge, and that's a Joy Fold card. All right, so there we've got the front of the card ready to build on the front. So let's look on the inside now. So on the inside, I have this piece. This is the Striping Designer Series paper, and this measures 4 by 5 1/4. This is a regular layer of paper, 4 by 5 1/4. Okay, and so we're going to glue this to the inside of the card. This is another reason I love using my silicone mat, is because if my tape runner doesn't start right away, you just have to drag it on the mat and then it gets it started. Okay, so let's put this in here now. There we go. Okay, now for the kind of greeting section where you're going to write your message, I've just used some basic white, and it's 4 by 3 inches. Okay, 4 by 3 inches. And before I put that on, I'm also using a strip of paper just to give it a bit of design at the bottom. This is 3/4 by 4. You can choose not to use this at all. If you find this is too small and you're going to stamp a greeting plus you're going to write your message, you may not want this little strip on here. But it is an option. So it's 3/4 of an inch by 4. And I'm putting it right down to the bottom. Okay, so there's this little piece here. So let's bring in the other card just to show you what I'm doing. Okay. Now notice that I'm doing the inside of the card before I do the corner fold. That's really, really important. Do the inside, and then we're going to do the corner fold almost as the last thing. Okay, so now I can glue this inside. Now, when you're gluing this inside, you want to make sure that it is hidden beneath this piece here. So what I like to do is I'm just going to center this on here. So I'm going to open up my card, okay, and I'm going to put this in here. And this is basically the same size as this DSP on the front. Hang on, I'm not in camera. So this is the same size as this DSP in the front. So I can line this up with this border around it using the green as my focal point. Okay, so I've got the glue on here, and then I'm going to fold this over. And there I've got it inside my card. Okay. All right, so that is the inside of the card, and you can decide whether you want to stamp something on here or not. Now, let's do this corner fold bit. So what you need for that, the corner fold, move all my little sticky notes here. All right, so I decided to follow through, like I was saying earlier. I'm using the floral to match with my corner fold. So like on this one, I did the pink hearts and pink hearts for the corner fold, or for the corner. All right, so this measures 2 by 2, and then you need your layer, which is 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. So 2 by 2, 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. You make a square, and then you're going to cut both of them on the diagonal. Okay, so I'm going to bring in my trimmer again. Okay, so I'm going to cut this on the diagonal. So I'm lining up my points in my track, point to point. Okay, And I always start my blade more or less in the middle. I don't come in from the point, right? I don't come in from the point because it could muck up your paper. So just put your blade somewhere on the cardstock anyway, and then just hold it tightly and go out and then come back out, up and down. Okay, so there's your triangle. You've got, and you end up with 2 triangles. So you could decide to make another card. And you could just flip the paper over if you wanted to and use the other side. But you do end up with an extra triangle. So you're going to do the same thing on the ESP. Put your blade somewhere on the paper, go up and down. Okay? All right. So I'm going to set these other triangles away and use this one. All right, so now I'm going to glue this triangle. I'm going to use my Tombow just to get into the edges here. To make sure my points are well stuck down. Okay, and then I'm going to glue this onto here. All right, so there's our little tuck. Now you want to be able to lift this corner up a little tiny bit. So rather than using glue, I'm going to use some dimensionals. It'll just add a teeny little bit of lift. So I'm going to put these in the 3 corners. This was actually Patty Dolan's suggestion. Okay. So you're going to close your card, and then you want to line this right up against, actually I'm going to open it. You want to get this edge to edge here. Okay, it's not coming in, it's lining it up right along the edge of the card. Like that. Okay, and then just press down on your glue dots. Okay, so now you can tuck this underneath. Look how cool that is. I love it. Okay. Simple, huh? A lot of cutting, a lot of pieces involved, but so effective. All right. And it's fun to pick out your patterns. I mean, look at the difference. All right. So I've already made a bee. So I wanted to show you something. So as I was saying earlier, you could choose to stamp the bee, which is this kind of an oval stamp. You could choose to stamp this in your yellow. Okay. And then stamp in black. So we'll do that just so that you can see what I'm talking about here. So I could stamp this in yellow. This is how it was intended the first time I brought this set out, because there were no dies. But you could do the same thing with cardstock. Let me just show you. So you can stamp the bee, the body, okay? And then you could stamp the stripes and the tail. Now this bee was a little bit different in that the tail is not on the yellow. So you're just going to line this up and stamp it. Okay, so that's option number 1. And then you would punch it out, okay, or cut it out with the die. So let me show you the dies. Now I'm hoping these are the same size. I'm not sure. Yeah, this works. So you could cut that out with the die, or you could punch it out with the punch. Okay. Now, the other option is to simply take your yellow cardstock, which is what I did for this bee. Take your yellow cardstock and just do your black stripes like that, okay? And then just use the die or the punch to cut it out. See? So that's up to you. You can either stamp the body or just stamp the stripes on the solid cardstock. You can have a lot of fun with this, you know, because you don't have to always have a yellow bee. You could make a pink bee. It's totally up to you. Okay, so that's how I did that, just to show you the two options. All right. Now I've already got a bee made, and I've already talked to you about the options for making the little antenna. And then these were the wings, okay, the white wings. Okay, and then I glued them all together to create my little bee. Okay, so I'm going to take my little tag. Now, what I thought I would do is there is a hexagon in the first stamp set, the original one, which again, as I said, is still available. Or is it in the second stamp set? I'm getting so confused. Oh, it's right here. Yeah, it was in the Valentine set. In the Valentine set, it's got this stamp here, which is really cool. That's why you need both sets, and they're both still available. If you love bees, then this is perfect. Okay, now to decide, should I just do it in black or should I do it? No, it should be in yellow, shouldn't it? Should be in yellow, maybe. Or you know what? I'm going to bring in, maybe I'm going to bring in some pink on the front. What the heck? Let's do pink. Let's do this petunia pop. We'll just make a bit of a background on here. You don't always have to follow the same. There we go. That's what I'm going to do on there. Just to give it a little bit of a background. Okay, and he needs to come up on dimensionals. So let me pull some of those out. Where are my bigger ones here? No, do I not have any larger ones in my stash here? Here we go. All right. So we're going to put the bee up on dimensionals. And we're going to stick him on here. So there's our little bee. And then he's going to go on the front of our card like this. Okay. So let's just glue this one on. There you go. So I don't have any greetings on here so that I can use it all occasion. It could be a birthday card, could be a Valentine's Day card, anniversary card, whatever you want. Okay, you could actually put another bee on the inside, just flying into the corner here. So there you go. There is your corner fold, what did I call it? Corner tuck fold card. So sweet. And I'm going to grab some Wink of Stella just to do his wings, I think. I should have done them earlier, but that's okay. There you go. So I hope you'll give this a go. I will include the measurements in the blog post so that you can make it. Hi, Lena. Oh, you can watch the replay. No worries. No worries. You can wait for the measurements too. Thanks for watching, ladies. And I will be back for Mojo Monday. So have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy your Friday night. My husband was commenting this morning, oh, Friday nights aren't that special because now he's absolutely fully retired. He moved out of his office. So he can still do a bit of work at home. He's still doing a little bit of work, but he's mostly retired. And Friday nights were always really special after being at work all week. And I said, well, we'll still make Fridays special. Just keep our little routine going. So we do nothing Friday nights. We make a nice dinner and we have a nice bottle of wine, and that's our Friday nights. So I hope you have a special Friday night, and we'll see you on Monday morning. Bye for now, ladies.